Hey everyone, Gill Gross here, post-match, Rafael Nadal versus Taylor Fritz, Wimbledon 2022 quarterfinal. If you're not here for spoilers, click off the video in 3, 2, 1. Wasn't quite the quality of the Nadal win over Del Potro a couple years back in the Wimbledon quarterfinal, but it was pretty dramatic. Quite the roller coaster. Nadal wins in 5 sets in a breaker, a 10-point tiebreak, which he won somewhat convincingly, but the match wasn't without its twists and turns before that point. From Nadal's unbelievably quick start, Fritz storming back to win the first set, Nadal being unbelievably compromised for most of the second set after building a lead before somehow stealing the second set, Fritz then winning the third. And at that point, you'd think, injured Nadal, Fritz up 2-1. Think Taylor might have this. Nadal wins the next 2 sets, and both of them were tight in the end. Whew, I mean, so much to unpack here. In the interest of not burying the lead, I've already alluded to it. Nadal was injured in this match. I think there was some evidence of this kind of right away. A lot of double faults in the first set. A lot of kind of stiff-looking mid-court forehands in the first set. But it was really the second set when you saw the more obvious signs and the more definitive signs that Nadal was having issues with his abdomen, something that he has had taped throughout the duration of the tournament, KT tape, kinesiology tape, and I kind of brushed it off, thought it didn't matter, thought it was fine, probably just precautionary. Clearly did. Clearly there was an issue. And also Rafa was asked about it in a press conference, and instead of saying, no, everything's fine, he said, I don't want to talk about it. And that was a little bit eyebrow raising. It was like, what exactly don't you want to talk about, Rafa? What's going on? Well, in the second set, his serve speeds crashed. They went way down. His movement crashed, and his ability to just rotate his hips freely on his ground strokes went way down. A lot of those things returned and were present for the rest of the match. Many different parts of his game, certainly his movement. The one thing that never came back was his serve velocity. It was never, I mean, he won this match averaging 107 miles per hour in total for the first serve, but that's kind of skewed because in the first set it was fine. So let's just look at these serve speed averages. Set 2, I'll just look at first serve. Set 2, 107. Set 3, 103. That's pretty horrendous. Set 4, 104. Set 5, a little better. He did loosen up a little bit, but it was still 109. If you're wondering, what is Nadal's average for the tournament? Where has he been? 115. 115 has been the average. So down double digits on serve speed. And that's how Nadal played the last 4 sets of this match, and he won 3 of them. How did that happen? First of all, you gotta just start with the mental aspect of this, because it's another example of a match where most players would have simply folded. Most players would have given up flat out. And while many were contemplating, is Nadal going to retire? What came to mind for me is something he said during Indian Wells after beating Sebastian Corda from down 5-2 in the third set. He said, these are the kinds of matches that I would go on to lose 90% of the time. But if I don't try, then I'll lose 100% of the time. I thought about that, and I thought to myself, this is why he's not going to retire, right? This is why. Not that Nadal's never retired before. He has in his career. In fact, Federer is really the one who hasn't. But I didn't think he'd retire because I thought that would be his mindset. And I think that clearly was his mindset. He talks about being willing to suffer. And in this match, both physically And emotionally, there was a lot of suffering on the court. There was a lot of pain tolerance that Nadal had to show off in order to get through the finish line. So let's start there. Now let's go technical. More than anything, the forehand made up for the serve. The forehand, especially in sets 4 and 5, was the highest level of one of the great attacking weapons of all time. And we saw, again, it peaked here. And Nadal needed it to, because he wasn't winning the match unless it did. Fritz got crushed in the ad court exchanges. Nadal's timing on his forehand down the line. Basically, well, let's start with the cross court. Nadal was hitting a lot of short cross court angle, and Fritz would go cross court with his backhand. And the way Nadal was timing the down the line change of direction was lethal. So that combination, cross court line, was so good on the forehand side, as was just the +1 going out wide to the Fritz backhand and then attacking the open court, that kind of V attack. So the forehand, to me, exposed Fritz's movement. It just looked like Fritz from the back of the court couldn't keep up with the quality of Nadal's forehand and the way he was controlling and timing that shot. What Fritz would have really needed to do, and he couldn't do it, was get out of those forehand to backhand patterns. He needed to just get out of those. And he missed a lot on his backhand down the line, but more often than not, he wasn't even hitting his backhand down the line. He was going back cross court into Nadal's forehand, and it was Nadal taking initiative in those exchanges, hitting better cross court forehands, and changing down the line. Not to mention the +1 balls, he was just lethal from the middle of the court when having to attack with his forehand. And Fritz is he's not the best mover, so he couldn't absorb those blows. Nadal's forehand was so good. And that is the reason why, without a serve, Nadal could still dictate on his service games, because he was still getting, his serve was still good enough, and he was hitting his spots pretty well. He was mixing it up well, still getting those first ball forehands and just cracking them, absolutely cracking them. With that being said, it's not as if Nadal did not have his serve broken a lot in this match. Taylor Fritz broke serve, I think I'm looking at 6 times. Yeah, 6 times in this match. That's a lot. 6 times in 5 sets. The problem for Fritz was not that he couldn't break Nadal's serve, Nadal's compromised serve. The problem is Fritz got his serve broken 7 times by Nadal, or Nadal broke serve 7 times, however you want to put it. It doesn't really matter. That is why Nadal won. Fritz came into this match leading the tour, or leading Wimbledon among remaining players in serves unreturned. 52% serves unreturned. That is better than Kyrgios by 1%. Better than Nick. Really good. You knew that wasn't going to happen against Nadal. I don't have the number, unfortunately, so I don't know what it was, but it certainly wasn't 52%. I think right from the onset, Nadal was showing his level up on the return. I felt Nadal's return of serve was really the only shot that from sets 1 through 5 was always pretty good. And I thought even in the first set, I was like, wow, Fritz won that set even though Nadal neutralized the first serve. Took away that weapon. Now, Fritz was just steadier in the first set. Nadal missed forehand after forehand after forehand in the first set. Fritz made 2 unforced errors. Nadal made 8. That's why Fritz won the first set. Fritz didn't win the first set because he was serving Nadal off the court. And at no point did I feel like Fritz was consistently serving Nadal off the court. There were many games where Fritz had quick service holds. Fritz had a bunch of aces, and in the match, he had plenty of aces. He had a bunch of service winners. But to me, it was in and out, in and out. And if you look at a bunch of crucial moments, Fritz's first serve wasn't there to bail him out. And we talk about Nadal's forehand, Nadal's superior mobility. We'll get into Nadal's superior variety. If you are Taylor Fritz, you need your first serve to bail you out of those situations. You need it to be there for you and to lift you up. And I didn't think that happened. I thought Fritz's first serve disappeared on many occasions, and Nadal was never going to allow Fritz to get away with missing spots on the first serve, too central in the box. He was never going to let Fritz get away with hitting second serves either. You look at the 5-all game in the fourth set, a game that Nadal broke at 30. So we are talking about 7 points here. 0 unreturned serves, 0 +1 finishes for Taylor Fritz. You can look at the 10-point tiebreak. No +1, no unreturned serves until Nadal was already up, where was it? 5-2, which was a little late. So he went down 4-love, Fritz, having 3 service points, just to highlight the big moments. Now, is it a little, and fifth set, break a serve, add in for Fritz, missed first serve, missed first serve, missed first serve. Nadal with 3 incredible forehand points, and that was the break of serve in the fifth set. Fritz ended up getting the break back, just a footnote. So you highlight these big moments where Fritz's serve disappeared. I think that Fritz needed to serve better in general. Now let's talk about Nadal's tool bag. How many different things he has in the garage, and what a big advantage that is for Rafa. Nadal's return of serve was a lot of block return, low, which is not Nadal's regular return of serve. Usually Nadal loops it high through the middle. Why was Nadal going continental grip and blocking returns low and short? Because Fritz is uncomfortable with that. And Nadal did that defensively also. Fritz does not respond that well to low contact points, and he doesn't finish very well in the front court. So that's why if you put the ball short in the court and you keep the ball low, you're making Fritz uncomfortable because he doesn't want to come forward. He doesn't want to move inside the court. His footwork, by the way, he needs to work on it. It's sluggish sometimes when he has to move inside the court and he doesn't get up to the ball, doesn't get in the right spot. Nadal knows that, and you sap his power, and then Nadal has chances for counterattack, and Nadal got some unforced errors off of slice, tons of unforced errors off of slice. So what did Nadal do? He chipped his returns, he sliced his backhand, and he drop shotted a lot of drop shot. All of these things are great plays against Taylor Fritz to take advantage of. First of all, Nadal is great at all these things. Nadal executes these things exceptionally well. But also, Taylor has not, that's the missing piece in Taylor's game. He has not developed great volleys and great front court skills. Nadal takes advantage. And certainly Nadal's defense in general caused a lot of problems for Taylor because he couldn't finish at net. So even when it wasn't slice, even when it wasn't slice defense, especially when Nadal defends on the forehand, he often doesn't slice. He will go high and deep. Fritz was struggling to finish a lot of points. Nadal was extending rallies and turning defense into offense because Fritz doesn't finish well. Or not that he doesn't finish well. He does not finish as well as he could because he is allergic to net, which is difficult against a great defender like Nadal. Now, I want to say this. Many will be very critical of Taylor Fritz's performance. I won't really defend it. Here's a top 10 player playing a Nadal who was playing very well. He was at his base level in a lot of areas. He was above base level, I think, on the forehand, although you could argue Nadal's forehand base level is pretty astronomically high. But look, you're playing a guy who's not really serving. So how are you not going to take advantage and win this match? And I think Taylor will feel that way. I think he should feel that way. I think there were some crucial mistakes. There were missed opportunities. Again, I think he can serve better. I do want to throw out the idea that while Nadal was physically struggling, I didn't think Fritz's legs were great in this match. Now, Fritz played a full week of tennis the week before Wimbledon. He won Eastbourne. And I think if there's an excuse for Fritz, it's that his legs didn't look very good. He had his legs taped up. He had a medical. He had to, I don't think it was a full medical timeout, but he got treatment on his legs. He had KT tape on his legs. Look, he's won every match at Wimbledon in straight sets, but I just feel like the inconsistency of the first serve, and I just think he can serve better, and I know the stats look fine, but I felt like it was in and out, as I said, and it escaped him a lot of the times when he needed it. And the scheduling, and I thought his feet looked slow at times, his footwork. I don't know that he was 100%. I thought he was probably maybe 95, maybe 90, maybe 85. I don't think it was like Nadal levels of compromise, but I'm just not sure it was all there. Counterpoint to me, and we won't know, you could say, Gill, look, Taylor's legs, he's just not the best athlete. And I don't know if it was fatigue or if Fritz can just look a little slow sometimes. But I didn't love the explosivity. I think I've seen Taylor look more explosive. That's my opinion. So let me close with this. Nadal's ab injury. I'd normally be very pessimistic about something like this. Look, I've seen plenty of players deal with this. I mean, Berrettini's probably the most high-profile example. Monfils at different points in his career has dealt with these ab issues. Generally, it's death. It's a horrific tennis injury. It affects everything. It affects especially the serve. And if there's a strain or a tear in the abdominal muscle, it just gets worse. I'd normally be extremely pessimistic, but what can I say? Nadal, I don't know what medical intervention there was, likely just painkillers, because that's really all you can do. Nadal got through this match. Nadal is obviously just really, really good at fighting through these kinds of things. And guess what? Djokovic did it too. At the Australian Open in 2020, I was extremely pessimistic about Djokovic moving forward. He beat Taylor Fritz 0-2 against players with ab injuries, apparently. The key, maybe the tactical key to beating Fritz is to tear your ab, apparently. Beat Taylor Fritz, went on to win in Melbourne in 2020. So I guess we'll see. I hope that we can get a healthy Nadal when he plays Nick Kyrgios. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you next time.